Hi everybody, nice to see you again. In the first video, we looked through different views of planning a lesson. In this video, we will talk about the components of a lesson plan. When we have different views about planning, we will plan the lesson differently. However, written lesson plans usually have some common components. What are the components you often put in your lesson plans? List down some of them. Now, let's watch a video clip about the components of a lesson plan on the YouTube, the link on the slide, and take notes of the components you hear.
Hello and welcome to this session from elttraining.com. I'm Jo Gakonga, and today we're going to be looking at lesson planning. This is the first in a series of 3 sessions on lesson planning, and this one's going to look at aims and the front page. First question, good question, is why bother to plan at all? And I suppose this to me typifies why, if you don't plan, you kind of walk into a bit of a wilderness in the classroom and you don't know where you're going. So that's the reason to have a plan. If you know where you start, and it's important also to know where you're starting, that's an important part of planning, and you know where you're going to go, which clearly is also important, then it's easier to plan how to get there and to think about what's the most straightforward route and what sort of problems you might come across along the way. But I think it is really important to keep in mind that it is a plan, so it's always going to be subject to change. It's not set in stone. It is possible to change it. Jim Scrivener says that you should prepare thoroughly, and I thoroughly agree with him, but that you should teach the learners and not the plan. And I think that's also something to bear in mind. You should prepare really well, especially as a novice teacher. There's a really good correlation between the amount of time you put in preparing and how well the lesson goes. But it's really important that you look at the road as you're going along, watch the learners and see how they're doing. It might be that they're picking up what you're teaching much faster than you expected, and so you can move on faster, or vice versa, that they don't understand and you need to go back and go over it again. So it's really important to teach the learners the plan isn't set in stone, it is changeable, but it's worth having a good plan behind you. So the next question then is, what's in a plan? These are some of the things that probably are in the plan that you've been given, the template you've been given. And generally plans are divided into a front page and a procedure page. So there's a division between the two. Now, if you have a look at those things, some of them are in the right place and some of them are not. So I'd like you to just stop me for a minute and see which of those things do you think should be on the front page and which should be on the procedure page. Hopefully you've had a look. This is the answer. And today in this session we're going to be looking at the front page. Session 2 we'll look at the procedure, and session 3 we'll look at anticipated problems, because that's quite a big chunk of stuff as well. But today, as I say, we're going to look at the front page. So you've probably got something that looks similar to this as a template. It probably doesn't look exactly like this, but it'll have most of those elements in it. So the first things, of course, are your name and the date and the length of the class and the level of the class. These clearly are important. This is just admin stuff. So the first really important thing we're looking at are the aims.
Here we look at lesson 1 in a unit in the new textbook Tiếng Anh 4. We see that the lesson aims at developing only one competence on the pupils. As you can see, lesson 1 in the new English textbook 4 has 5 activities. The older version has activity 3, let's talk, in period 1. English textbooks 3 and 5 still have activity 3, let's talk. Here is lesson 2 with the aims of developing competence 2. There are 6 activities, 3 in each period. It has the objectives or goal. Students will be able to do what skill, about what topic, in order to what task. The lesson input, pronunciation, vocabulary or grammar in focus. The material input, books, materials, audio visual aids. The procedure with 5 steps. Step 1, warm up. Step 2, activity 1. Step 3, activity 2. Step 4, activity 3. Step 5, checking the outcome or consolidation or review, and what students continue doing at home as home link. You can remember the short acronym for this lesson plan: GPO, Goal, Input, Procedure, Outcome. Apart from the above components, primary teachers should also add in their lesson plans some essential ones, such as class description, anticipated problems, and possible solutions. The last but not least component is evaluation. Teachers should not drop them out of the plan. Teachers can ask their colleagues to give them comments on the lesson plans, or they can reflect after teaching the lesson to make any necessary adaptation. Now, Let's have a look at this lesson. It is Lesson 1, Period 1 in Unit 7, That's My School, Tiếng Anh 3, Volume 1, page 46. Can you practice writing the plan for this lesson at home? And we will use them as examples when we learn the principles of a good lesson plan in the next video. You can read or watch more about what we learned today from these books and websites. That's all for now. Thanks for watching this video. See you again in the next video when we look into principles of lesson planning.